Paris, 1920. The City of Lights begins to recover from World War I and is just about to enter a period of renewed prosperity. The Roaring Twenties, a period that made Paris the undisputed world capital of modern art. Just before the end of the war, France lost one of its greatest artists of all time, Claude Debussy. Debussy died of cancer prematurely, but in the heat of the war, his demise passed without proper attention. Now that the city was returning to life, it was the right time to salute Debussy. The prestigious music magazine, La Revue Musicale, decided to dedicate an entire issue in the memory of Debussy, honoring the second anniversary of his passing. In December 1920, the special issue was published. In addition to a number of essays and personal testimonials, it also presented 10 original musical compositions written in the memory of Debussy, especially commissioned from some of the most important composers of the time. It was an extraordinary group of A-list composers, indeed, topped by Ravel, Stravinsky, Bartók, Satie, Dukas, Falla. The remaining composers, whose names have been somewhat forgotten today, were also considered among the finest musicians of the time. Frenchmen Florent Schmitt and Albert Roussel, Italian Gianfrancesco Malipiero, and Englishman Eugene Goossens. It is hard to imagine a scenario in which such a diverse group of leading composers would agree to collaborate on a joint artistic project. It was the honor they all felt for Debussy, the visionary pioneer of modernism, that connected them all. The result was one of the most fascinating musical tributes of the early 20th century, a project entitled Le Tombeau de Claude Debussy. Now, exactly 100 years after its completion, the full project, with its 10 original compositions and the 2 masterpieces that were derived from it, is released for the first time in a special album by Naxos. Although all composers wrote in their own personal style, many of them referred to Debussy in their compositions and evoked his unique aesthetic world. Paul Dukas chose the iconic theme of the faun and turned it into a phare lament, intriguingly reharmonized with an ever-changing kaleidoscope of harmonic interpretations. Manuel de Falla once testified that Debussy was the one who showed the way to all Spanish composers how to employ the Iberian rough folklore in concert hall idioms. No wonder that Falla took Debussy's first masterpiece, written in the Spanish spirit, A Night in Granada, and quoted it in his homenaje, homage. An accomplished musicologist, Gianfrancesco Malipiero, chose to emphasize Debussy's attraction to Gothic and archaic traditions. His piece starts with a Gregorian chant-like melisma and ends with a salute to Debussy's famous piano prelude, the engulfed cathedral. Maurice Ravel salutes Debussy's late style, and especially his Baroque-inspired sonata cycle. His contribution presented a single movement for violin and cello, in which he further develops Debussy's late transparency, giving up the foggy silhouettes in favor of pure clarity and transparent polyphony. Ravel later developed this single movement into a full-size four-movement sonata and dedicated it in the memory of Debussy. Both the original Tombeau movement and the fully-fledged sonata are presented here. Igor Stravinsky followed Ravel and made his short fragment into a cornerstone of his 1922 masterpiece, the Symphonies of Wind Instruments, scored for 23 solo winds. In an ever-changing kaleidoscope of colors and textures, Stravinsky salutes Debussy as the prophet of neoclassicism and ingeniously manages to merge Debussy's sensitivity for tone and color with the new trends of jazz and polyrhythm. Also here, both the original fragment and the full-size symphonies are presented. Debussy's deep connection to visual arts was not ignored in this project, as renowned post-impressionist painter Raoul Dufy contributed a special drawing and gave the whole magazine its breathtaking cover. Recorded and produced at Tel Aviv University, the album presents Israel's best artistic forces of the Buchman Mehta School of Music, Israel's leading institution for higher education in music. If we have ever hoped to discover a time capsule of what was Paris like in 1920, this album probably gives us the best glimpse into this golden age of the City of Lights.